Welcome to the 5G podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversation about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
Let's start with the last thing we put on the list, though, the death of the great creator.
Yes. Very sad news. I think this was... I gotta stare at my dog so he stops licking my leg. We're serious. I think this was Friday?
Thursday.
The creator of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, the original guy, Akira Toriyama, passed away.
Akira Toriyama.
At 68. He's not that old.
Oh, that's not as old as I thought.
He was probably very young when he was writing Dragon Ball.
That's been out for 40 years.
That's what I would guess. 40 years, maybe 30 something, but
40 years was 83, right?
Okay, it says right here, Wikipedia, 1984 was when it was created. So
that was a pretty good guess.
that was a very...
Oh, no, that is exactly 40 years.
Exactly 40 years.
Because it's not 2023 anymore.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
Flash.
Yeah. Spartacus, go away.
Go. You've already been featured on an episode. All right, he's good. Yeah, Akira Toriyama. Not only was he the creator of Dragon Ball, he actually worked on a lot of other Japanese stuff. He worked on the art for a pretty popular game called Chrono Trigger. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's was a big competitor to Final Fantasy back in the day. And then it was even published by Square Enix. But then it just kind of fell off. But it always had this huge cult following. Always been people clamoring for Chrono Trigger remakes, which is a solid game. It's very fun because you're time traveling, and so your party that you assemble is this super diverse,
eclectic group of characters.
Yeah. You've got a steampunk robot from the future. You've got a frogman knight. I don't know. It's fantasy time travel, and I don't know, it's cool. It's a fun story. But yeah, just the prevalence of this guy, Akira Toriyama. I mean, he did really craft culture into especially for us, our generation, a little bit older than us, growing up.
Yeah,
come from school, you watch Dragon Ball.
I mean, I don't know very many people who haven't seen at least one episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh yeah, and at least in Latin America, Dragon Ball Z is still huge.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball is the anime.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
even if someone doesn't know anime or is not an anime fan, they've seen Dragon Ball. Yeah,
at least an episode or two, right? You can't really say that about any other show.
Yeah. So it was cool. I liked seeing. Not that it was cool, but it was sad. But it was cool seeing all of the tributes.
Yeah, there was many of those. I saw a lot of those.
Tons. My wife's into all the graphic design stuff, and so and all the AI art and that sort of sphere. And so she saw, somebody did a what's it called? The Mid-Journey is the art AI. They did a Mid-Journey recreation of Goku with angel wings,
that's
up.
Cool.
I'm all right, that's very nice touch. I saw one somebody drew that was Goku just kind of chilling on a park bench, very pensive, and then Naruto and Luffy from One Piece come up and they're patting him on the back, supporting him, he's Goku, Dragon Ball Z led the way for these other childhood animes from way back when. So
apparently One Piece is in its final season or something like that.
Really?
Finally, something like that. I saw that. That's a headline that I saw. Didn't read the article, so just thought that was interesting.
1,000-something episodes in.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
At least Dragon Ball, they swapped out writers a few times, and they'd not do reboots, but they'd here's Dragon Ball, here's Dragon Ball Z, here's Dragon Ball Super. They did different series.
Yeah.
One Piece, it's still the same guy writing the same series.
The story has to end. I don't know.
At some point, will they ever find the One Piece?
Probably not at this point.
Probably not. No.
But the Netflix adaptation was fantastic. So
yeah, I would gladly watch more of that.
Yeah, for sure.
That was fun.
For sure. But anyway, sad to see the death of a legend.
Yeah, at only 68. Akira Toriyama.
Does he say what he died of?
Give me 10 seconds, I guess. I'll
1, 2.
Acute subdural hematoma.
Hematoma, isn't it a brain clot?
Hema is blood in Latin,
Yeah.
so web search of subdural hematoma is a pool of blood between the brain and its outermost covering.
Huh.
Google says it's rare.
Sounds like it would be.
Yeah. Very interesting.
I wonder what caused that.
Right? Usually caused by...
This probably needs to be cut out, but COVID vaccine.
Probably.
We can cut that back in now.
Okay, and we're back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, let me just bump the mic a bunch and... Sorry, we're breaking up, going through a tunnel.
We're going through a tunnel. We can't hear what Steven was saying.
Perfect. Okay.
In his conspiratorial ways.
Oh, come on, Steven. Only some conspiracies are allowed on the internet. Next topic, though. Moving on. Would you want to talk about the leaks? Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, let's do the leaks. That was an interesting one.
Yeah. Big news in the world of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, and we're not going to have any pictures of cards this time because they would be very, very fuzzy.
Yeah.
You sent me a text on yesterday about this guy who had a bunch of... He opened a pack, basically, of the newest or the next newest...
The next
set, which is Cowboys at... Ranchers at Thunder Junction?
Wizards of the Coast at Thunder... No, it's OTJ, Outlaws at Thunder Junction.
Outlaws at Thunder Junction.
So, I know it just seems like last week we were talking about a different Magic set.
Because we were.
And now, surprise, there's a new one. Never-ending spoiler season. Even though these were technically leaks, this was not official. And they're actual, they're legitimate because the pictures were grainy, like Bigfoot quality.
Yeah.
So it's got to be legit.
Yeah, of course. That's why the Bigfoot picture is legit.
Yeah.
It's because of how grainy the quality.
If it was fake, it would be like pristine.
Exactly.
Like, nah, that's...
Exactly.
No. So they basically leaked, across... He opened at least 3 or 4 different boosters. And across all of that, I think we got all of the mechanics leaked.
Yeah.
And a couple new creature types even. So we kind of already had a lot of the good news. There was even one extra one, I think, this morning or late last night.
Oh, really?
So surprise for you as well. The last new mechanic on the card, I think.
The funniest one is one that I think is a really cool mechanic.
Uh-huh.
But they should have named it something else.
They definitely should have named it something else.
Should have named it like Saddle Up or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Or Partner.
Howdy, partner.
Instead they decided to call it Mount. There's a keyword Mount now.
Yeah. Well, so
am I skipping forward too much?
No. I misspoke the first time I texted you because it was good for the joke, but the creature type is Mount. But creature with Mount has a keyword called Saddle where you mount it.
Well, we're going to call it Mount Up.
Yeah, it's like Saddle 1, like Crew 1. So you tap any number of other creatures you control with total power 1 or more. This mount becomes saddled until end of turn. Saddle only as a sorcery. You can't do any mounting at instant speed. Not that fast.
Wow, some of us are.
You got to be a little more careful with that. It wouldn't. Yeah. So the one they have a bear mount is like one of the creature types.
But the ability is like really good.
It seems fine for like a draft format of like this guy's a 3-mana 4/2 bear mount. Does that say Denver? I don't know. It's really fuzzy. The Denver Grizzly.
Let me see.
It looks like Denver. Like now we're in Colorado apparently.
It does look like Denver.
Or a driver Grizzly, which also doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Denver Grizzly, but it's just like he's got the saddle 1. So, but when he attacks while saddled, I like while mounted. Creatures you control gain trample until end of turn.
I think that's like a decent enabler in like a mono green deck.
Yeah, you tap one power guy, and then your whole team gets trample. Like
if I had like big green Stompy, and I have one little token creature or something like that. Or I have a land that turns into a creature or something.
One little mana dork.
I can just instead of swinging with my mana dork, I can instead
give everybody trample.
Give everyone trample.
Yeah, it makes sense, like mechanically, because it's just crew, but crew like turns your vehicle artifacts into creatures for a turn. Yeah, that one you could do at instant speed. I guess there's really, in this case, we've seen there's no reason to do this one at instant speed.
No, because you still have a blocker. It's still a creature. Like
yeah. Whereas I kind of like crewing a vehicle at instant speed to sneak in a blocker is pretty nice.
And it would have been nice to be able to mount at, or sorry, saddle at instant speed, because then you could, you know, it's another Trixie, you know?
Yeah.
Like you could like leave your mana dork untapped and then, they declare X, Y, and Z as blockers. Oh, but now all my creatures have trample.
Yeah. Yeah.
For example.
That's true. That's true. As a trick, combat trick. Yeah, so they've got Saddle. The new creature type they have is Wolverine.
Yeah, I saw that.
We love talking about new creature types on this channel. So
it seems like they're doing like they have two teams at Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah,
that are like doing opposite things. Like you have on one side, they're taking a bunch of different creature types and combining them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put Nagas
and snakes
together,
which like mythologically are not the same.
No. And then you have the other team who's like, let's just make random creature types.
How about sloths?
How about capybaras?
How
about Wolverines? Like
all the Red Dawn fans.
I'm guessing that the only reason they're doing this is so that they can introduce like a Marvel crossover.
Oh yeah. For Slothman.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was thinking Capybara Girl.
Right. Yeah, that's. I mean, she's like cousins with Squirrel Girl. So
yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, but like Wolverine, right?
Yeah, He would have Wolverine creature type.
A Wolverine hero. A Wolverine Time Lord.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, he is. He doesn't die.
He doesn't die. He's not. He doesn't. Yeah, okay. I'll give that one to you.
Find the fault, Trevor.
That's more interesting than a Wolverine just soldier, I guess. They'll save that for the Red Dawn crossover.
That'd be kind of dope, though, actually.
Yeah, if it's just like a... All right, hear me out. Universes Beyond, Chris Hemsworth. If we talk about Thor or Marvel, I was thinking Thor. Wolverine, yeah, he's from Red Dawn. We just have Chris Hemsworth. It's multiple characters.
13 strong.
Extraction.
Ooh, Extraction.
Where he plays the same character but Australian.
Yep.
But yeah, back to the Outlaws at Thunder Junction. Other new mechanics. Other new stuff. Let me see. They're bringing back deserts as a type of land, which, as I mentioned to you, have never really gotten any support. Like, deserts existed in like one Magic set like 20 years ago, and everyone's like, "Give us more deserts."
Yeah. This is a good set to do it in. It feels like.
Yeah, it's the cowboy Wild West set.
Are they doing any horsemanship?
No, nothing that we've seen. So probably not.
Are they just like gonna like let that mechanic die?
We had one card in a commander precon like last year, and that was it.
Was it just a reprint though?
No, it was a brand new card that gives all your knights horsemanship.
Random.
Yeah, very random. I will say, I won't say never, because we got, I think in a precon last year, we got some random new commander for deserts back when there were only like 8 deserts in existence, and now it looks like they're going to reprint another 10 of a whole. Every 2-color pair is going to have a desert, and then probably 1 or 2 like multicolor ones they usually do. So deserts, that new old commander from last year probably got a lot better. Also bringing back mercenary as a creature type, but not the flavor of the old mercenaries, which is kind of a shame. I think they just liked the name to fit with like the cowboy
instead
Wild
of
West.
Bandit or something like that.
Yeah, and in fact, I'll cover. They have a new kind of like the party mechanic.
Yeah,
that lumps creature types together. They have a new thing with mercenaries. I'll find it on another card, but the old mercenary mechanic from like way back, they had a I won't even try to guess the name of the set, but it was Rebels versus Mercenaries. It was actually a pretty fun theme. The Rebels, I might get this one wrong. The Rebels would always tutor to go get other Rebels out of your deck. They were obviously stronger, but then the Mercenaries usually did things like it was usually like removal. It was like destroy target creature, and they had a lot of just like removal.
Yeah.
Roguish things.
Sure.
The how they're doing it now, they're just brought back mercenary as token creatures. Seems okay, but their effect is just like you tap the token creature to give target creature you control +1 power until end of turn. On a 1/1 creature, you're like, whatever. But I think they're just doing it because they have a new grouping called Outlaws. So they have this enchantment that's like, as long as it's your turn, Outlaws you control have first strike. And Outlaws is assassins, mercenaries, pirates, rogues, and warlocks. Yeah, that one seemed random.
The other ones make sense, but
yeah, because on this plane, I think we've seen there's pirates, there's rogues, mercenary tokens. I just mentioned. Don't know if I've seen any assassins.
They're coming out next set though, with Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Sorry, I guess that's in 2 sets because Shrubbery is next.
I think Bloom Burrow.
Yeah, that's the one I couldn't remember the name of.
But then Warlocks. I'm like, there must be some in Standard right now. I can't think of, but I know the Commander set for D&D had Warlocks, obviously. But anyway, that's Outlaws. And then the Commit a Crime. We already talked about that one. Whenever you commit a crime,
such a dumb. Just so dumb.
It is kind of a dumb name. They specified Mark Rosewater had to come out and support committing a crime. Is targeting opponents, anything they control, and or cards in their graveyard is committing a crime. Anything that targets. So like murder is a crime. Also the magic card, murder. Destroy target creature is committing a crime.
Tragic slip.
Tragic slip. That was just an accident. I don't think
Trevor's a mobster.
That was a tragic slip.
He slipped and fell. I didn't know what to do.
But something like a board wipe, like a Wrath of God,
not a crime.
Just destroys all the creatures.
Nuking a planet, not a crime.
Armageddon, not a crime.
Yeah.
The other players at the table.
Exocrine cannon, not a crime.
Not a crime. Everyone else might hate you for it, but you can go, hey, it wasn't a crime.
Not a crime.
Crime.
Didn't enter.
What a blasphemous act.
Did we talk about entering?
Entering, no. We did
Add that to the list here.
Add that to the list.
I just looked up though. There are 92 Warlock cards in Magic.
That's actually a lot. I guess they had 2 D&D
They had one in Eldraine. Agatha of the Vile Cauldron.
Gotcha. Yes,
she's a human warlock.
They changed every old witch to a warlock. I remember this.
There's quite a few new looking ones. Anyway.
Yeah.
Brina the Demagogue. Bird warlock. Anyway, just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. So committing a crime, it's just like, target your opponents with stuff and you get a payoff. Woo.
So why didn't they just say whenever you've targeted an opponent?
Because they wanted to shorten down, like, target an opponent, target a permanent they control, target something in their graveyard. That's it. Those are the 3.
So how about whenever you target a permanent or opponent?
Yeah. Whenever you commit a crime. Sounds cool for the cowboy.
So can committing a crime only be done against an opponent's stuff?
Yes.
So like if you kill your own creature, it doesn't count as
you can murder your own creatures all you want.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's very what's the right word? Frickin' nay. Medieval.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're the lord over these creatures and you can kill them whenever you want because they're your serfs.
They're your serfs. Treat them as 0/1 serfs.
That was a good joke.
Yeah.
That was very good. Well done.
The last new mechanic, bit of a spicy one for you. They have
penetrate.
No, it's actually you might not have heard of this mechanic. It's called kicker. So when you cast a spell,
everything's kicker.
You can pay an additional cost to do something. But no. This for real though. This one is not kicker. It's totally different. It's called spree. And it's multi-kicker. But it's with different kickers. See, multi-kicker was just you pay the cost multiple times to get the same effect. This one is pay different costs, get different effects. Totally different mechanic.
Sure.
And we had to call it spree.
Sure.
The format on it, though, is really weird. I can show you this here. They have the original mana cost of the card is, like, in this case, 2 blue pips. And I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny little plus next to the blue pips. I don't love that.
Oh, yeah.
A new design. So it's going to be 2 blue pips plus, and then you got to go down to the card description to read additional mana costs. And it's bullet points.
Oh, so there's no regular effect.
Yeah, it's 2 blue pips gets you nothing. And
2 blue pips, you can play this card.
You can play it, and it
fizzles.
It resolves, I think, actually. They're going to have to explain that. But then its spree is like choose 1 or more additional costs.
+2, exchange control of 2 target creatures. 4 mana for that is reasonable, I suppose.
I think that's a reasonable rate. Comparable.
+1, so 3 mana, exchange control of 2 target artifacts.
Yeah.
That one seems a little bit broken.
A little bit better, yeah.
And then +1, exchange control of 2 target enchantments.
Seems the same, I guess. It's kind of meh. There has to be 2 enchantments on board, which is less likely,
but the artifacts ones feels a little bit like, can you imagine if you have a treasure token and you're like, oh, I'll just take your walking throne,
your Darksteel Citadel, artifacts you control of indestructible. I'll just take that. Here's a treasure token.
Yeah, seems kind of broken.
Yeah,
so that's going to be an artifact hate card.
Yeah, it's only sorcery speed, but
okay, on my turn, I take whatever artifact of yours I desire.
It's interesting. I don't love the like bullet points with the +2 mana, the +1.
Yeah, no, that's weird.
But it's multi-kicker, so you can pick more of them if you want. You can do all 3 if you had 6 mana. You can
the choosing more makes it better.
You can commit a crime and go on a crime spree.
Sure.
So weird new mechanics from that were all leaked from the set, but And then they have lots of like random animals too, because it's, I don't know, the Wild West. They've got this bighorn sheep. We had the one that was a bear. One of the leaks had the name was partially cut off, but everybody knows it's a holy cow.
Oh, that's hilarious!
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's in white, I assume.
Yeah, it's an ox angel creature type.
That's a good creature.
I think
that is good card design.
Yeah, they were just like waiting to find the right set to squeeze in that joke. It's taken them 30 years. The holy cow.
I mean, that's a great one though. That's well done.
Some random common we can only see is a 3 mana 2/2 ox angel, but it's a holy cow.
I kind of want one.
Yeah, just put the frame that guy.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Holy cow.
All right. Again, maybe there's 2 different teams at Wizards. I like one of them, but
one of the teams knows what's up.
Yeah.
Some of the other teams don't know anything.
No.
I feel like there's a core group of like Magic aficionados and nerds at Wizards. And then there's like this group who are like, yeah, I play the game once a year, test plays for the set I create.
I've only ever played Commander, and so we just design every card for Commander.
Oh, and we have to definitely get rid of Nagas because those are just snakes.
They're basically just snakes with legs. What?
It's like, yeah,
that's the same thing.
That's not a snake.
Fundamentally a different creature.
You'd have a better chance of getting a worm and a snake to be the same thing.
Yes, which are not in Magic. Yeah. Lizards, those are just snakes with legs. What? Oh, we're just reptile. We're just everything's the same now.
Capybara, that's just a furry snake.
That's just a furry snake. That's it. You get humans, snakes, birds. I don't know. Those are the only creature types you're allowed.
Can't have birds. Dinosaurs were their ancestors. They're just snakes.
They're just snakes. Snakes are just dinosaurs.
Alligators? Nope, it's a snake.
Definitely not.
Dragons? Big snake.
Wolverine, scary snake.
Dragon, snake bird.
Snake bird, yes.
You have snakes, birds, and humans.
Can you imagine like an unset, like a joke set for Magic? We got to write these ones down because we keep coming up with good ones. The America the Gathering from a couple weeks ago.
Dude, that's fire.
Yes.
Like that one, we have to go and like pitch that to Wizards.
Now we're gonna do a joke set where we just condense all of the tribes, and you'll look at the card art. You're like, this is not. It's just like egg, human, snake. You're like, what the Time Lord? What? Yeah, that's a creature type now. Like, you'd have to do it all silver bordered because you would just like blow Commander's players' minds. Be like, for my egg tribal deck, I finally have a commander. You're like, no, these are fake cards, not allowed.
You really could you could make like different creature types where they all have either bird, snake, or human in it.
Yeah,
but then you could do like pointy humans and then elves.
Elves. Definitely not elves. And then
they're definitely not elves. They're pointy humans.
Aquatic snakes, and it's just like all the serpents and leviathans and
water snake.
Water snake. Dolphin, also a water snake.
Whale, water snake. Big water snake.
Pangolin is another underused creature type. I think there's only 1 or 2 pangolins in Magic.
Water bird. Snake bird.
Yeah.
You have snake birds and bird snakes.
Yeah. Dolphin, underutilized one, I think. No, I could be wrong. I think dolphin's a joke because they just call it a fish, actually.
Oh, we might have to add fish in there. No, fish are just snakes.
Yeah, I think so.
They have scales.
Again, aquatic snakes.
Yeah. Water snakes.
But the holy cow, though. The holy cow can stay.
What is a cow?
An ox.
Well, no, but like in our
fat steak. Fat lance.
Dumb human.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's probably more akin to that, yeah. At least it's a mammal.
Yeah.
Dumb human. That's the sheep, Steven.
Yikes. Anyway.
So tune in next time, I don't know, for Outlaws at Thunder Junction.
Outlaws at Thunder Ranch.
Official spoilers when they come out next week, probably. I don't know. Fallout just released today. Officially.
You got those. You said the art looks amazing.
It actually looks really good in person. And
did you are all of the Soul Rings that full art that looks real nice, or the command tower that looks real nice?
No, the full art ones are only in collector boosters.
Those look sick.
The decks give you a dumb little collector booster sample pack. It's a little 2-card pack.
2 cards?
Yeah, it's a sample pack. But
did you rip them?
I did, and
all 4 of them.
All 4 of them. So I got 8 special cards. It's a 2-card pack, but they use the space in the packaging to throw in a 3rd little advertisement card. I don't know why. Just give me a 3rd card in there. It doesn't cost you anything to print these. Costs you probably more to print the
advertisement than another card. Yeah.
I did get the command tower.
Oh, nice. That's good.
In the special full art, it's Vault Boy, climbing on top of this ramshackle tower, and he's looking out with his binoculars.
It's a good art.
Yeah, I was hoping for the Soul Ring. That's the vault door, but that was the only special Vault Boy treatment I got. I got a couple of the others that are just lame extended art, where you just get an extra 1/4 inch of the art.
Yeah,
on the side, and then I think I got 1 or 2 showcase arts that have the I think they call it the Pip Boy treatment, because the art kind of looks like the frame of your inventory in game. So I got 1 or 2 random creatures there.
Cool.
But yeah, I got the command tower. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I cracked them open. I've sleeved up some of them, ready to test them out and play. I think
does Optimus Prime look pretty good?
Yeah,
Liberty Prime.
Yeah, he does look pretty solid.
How do they get away with that name? That's a blatant ripoff of Transformers.
Yeah, I don't know.
That is 100% a Transformers name, but they're
have to ask Bethesda. Yeah, back when they made Fallout 3. I'm excited. I kind of got that new card smell too. Which is
yeah.
That's always a good smell. 100 cards, just smells like paper. Trees.
Like a new book.
Yeah, a new book. very much so.
New book.
So,
all right. What was the one thing before the other thing?
one thing.
We had one other thing.
Oh yeah, some Tesla.
Oh yeah,
current events news. This is current. Yeah, this is current events.
Yeah. So the Tesla trucks have been out for a month now, I think.
The Cybertrucks.
Cybertrucks, and everyone was like super hyped about them, and now everyone's gotten them, and they're like, eh. I've seen a couple of them driving around
Here, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen any yet.
I work in a rich part of the city.
You work in Scottsdale.
I work in Scottsdale.
That's true.
I see a lot of really nice cars every day.
Yeah.
My office window is, I'm on the second story and I face Scottsdale Road.
Oh yeah. Just people just cruising.
Just like I've seen Lamborghinis, Ferraris, a stupid amount of Porsches.
Yeah.
Rolls Royce, Bentley. I saw an Aston Martin yesterday.
Whoa.
And I saw the Cybertruck yesterday.
Yeah, the Cybertruck. Yeah.
A lot of Land Cruisers.
Yeah.
Range Rovers. Range Rovers, not Land Cruisers. That'd be cool if it was Land Cruisers. Range Rovers, a lot less cool than Land Cruisers. I think that's Anyway, so I've seen it, and your brain doesn't really comprehend what it is because it doesn't look like any other car you've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's very weird.
And so your brain is like, that isn't a car. Like, what is that? So there's that aspect of it.
4 wheels and goes.
Yeah. And there's no sound, so you can't hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because it's electric. But I've seen some stuff where, like, the lines on the car don't match up. And because it's such a plain, like, it's just sheets of steel, there's nowhere to hide imperfections in the alignment of the bends and things like that.
Huh, okay.
Where one piece is bent like this, and then there's another panel that's supposed to be bent the exact same way, but they're offset by an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch or something like that. And so it just kind of looks like, you know,
looks a little ramshackle.
Looks a little bit janky.
Yeah.
So apparently a bunch of people have had that problem, which I think is just a QA thing.
Yeah, it just seems like, this one was
QA, QC.
Factory defect. Send it back.
But then, it's a truck, right?
It's supposed to do truck things.
And one thing that trucks do is, like, go over bumps.
Yeah.
Right? Like, most trucks will go over a bump in their lifetime. I was watching a video of these guys who got one, and they're very well to do, and they do a lot of car things. And they were not, what they were doing wasn't really like
extreme.
They weren't like jumping the thing or anything like that, right? They were just going kind of off road, and not even like off road. It was like a dirt road with bumps and stuff like that. And it was like some of the control arms and the suspension systems were made out of this stamped steel.
Oh, okay.
But which would be fine for like a normal street car that hits a pothole every once in a while. But it's on a super heavy car with a lot of travel because it's a truck, so the suspension has a lot more travel than a normal car would. And when they hit their maxes on either side, those pieces bend.
Oh.
And so you go from, like, if you're going like on a bumpy road, right? You go from being bent one way to bend the other way
pretty quick.
Real quick, and then so it just starts like crumpling and folding on itself.
That's not good.
And so these guys, they basically took those pieces off that they could find and basically just put on a bunch, really high-end truck parts.
Because they have the capability of doing that.
Yeah, so but most people, but if we're being honest, so there's that, right?
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, 95% of people who buy this truck, 98% of people who buy this truck are going to use it to haul something once in their life.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be like, that was annoying because I spent $150,000 on this pickup truck. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Hauling concrete in this. And then they're going to never haul a thing in it again, except for like their buddy's golf bag or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
And then
they're like,
it'll be a street princess for the rest of its life.
Why don't I just sell this and buy a real Tesla?
So I just think it's going to be a street princess for everyone who has one.
Yeah. Until they maybe fix some quality.
Well, I don't think that...
where's the market? Yeah.
Well, and it's never going to be an off-road capable machine anyway because it's too heavy.
Yeah.
like that's something that is like kind of counterintuitive, is that like off-road cars, yeah, they're mostly trucks, but most of the time if you're like doing like a really high performance off-road vehicle, you're stripping like everything out of the thing.
True, yeah.
You know? Because you don't want all the extra weight and all the other crap that could come loose and things like that, right? And so this truck is never going to be meant to, you know, go off-road.
It's too thick.
It's never going to be meant as a work truck because it's $150,000 or whatever it is, and you can go buy a Toyota Tundra or a Nissan or a Chevy or a Ford run-of-the-mill Silverado or F-150 or, you know, whatever Dodge you want,
and it gets
for
the job done.
third of the price, brand spanking new.
Yeah.
And it gets the job done better.
Out of the box.
Out of the box, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Street princess.
I think it's going to be a street princess, and just and like it'll never be a work truck for anyone anyways, because like one of the benefits of work trucks is a lot of the vast majority of like work trucks are diesel trucks, right?
Yeah.
One of the benefits of that is your heavy machinery also runs on diesel. And so if you're on a job site and you're running low, you can just fill up with diesel.
You have the same fuel for everything.
You're not having to like find the generator to plug your Tesla in for 3 hours.
You need diesel fuel for your diesel generator to power your Tesla.
Although, to be fair, there are companies, Caterpillar included, that are starting to make some of their heavy machinery into battery powered. Yeah. It's actually, there's a Cat just came out with the Bobcat. Not just, this is like a year ago maybe they came out with this, but it's a fully electric one. So currently it's diesel and hydraulic, right? This one is battery powered and electronic actuators for the movement of the bucket.
Okay.
And the lift arms and stuff like that.
No hydraulics.
And it looks really cool. It's just as strong. Like they made it just as beefy and stuff like that. So there's no capability degradation.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that it's an instant feed. And so with hydraulics, if there's more weight in the bucket, you have to pump more in there, right? More hydraulic fluid into these pistons in order for them to actuate, right?
Yeah, to get them firing.
And so you'll be like, if you're controlling a bucket, you'll pull up or whenever, you know, you'll move your joystick or your levers or whatever system you're using differently, depending on how much power you're producing at your engine, because like on bulldozers you can throttle up the engine to produce more power for your hydraulic system.
Makes sense.
But if you have more weight in a bucket, it requires more input on your end. Whereas with this electric system, apparently it's like you move 1 degree, the bucket moves 1 degree. Yeah. Like no, you could have 1,000 pounds in there until it's failure point, basically. At which point it just says, no thanks.
I can't.
Yeah. Which, I mean, same with hydraulic systems, right?
Yeah.
Like with hydraulic systems, it'll be at its max and you'll just like start pushing on you're pulling on your up stick or whatever.
Yeah.
And it'll just be like, no, hose burst.
Yeah. I'm curious. Yeah. It says, you say it's got the same capabilities, but it's just as far as like maintenance.
Yeah. I don't know about maintenance.
Yeah. What's the lifespan of it?
Theoretically, like, if it's not running, you should just be able to like, because you don't have to have any hydraulic fluid.
No, yeah.
And like, if you're like,
it's only when something electronic breaks down.
Yeah, but those machines are so complex anyway that these mechanics that work on them are going to be able to do, like, they're going to get trained on it.
Yeah.
And then they're going to be able to do it anyway.
Exactly.
Because like, you can attempt to go fix like a hydraulic hose. Not a big deal, right? Unscrew it, put it back on. You know? But some of the engines and like the control systems that they have for some of their new modern stuff that's
so
diesel hydraulic anyway is so complex that it's just like you have to be a computer scientist anyway to figure these out.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'll be.
You call in an expert. Always.
Yeah. You just take it back to the Cat dealership and they refurb it for you.
Yeah.
But,
it's a classic of like a doctor or a engineer like still takes their car to the mechanic. It's like, yeah, I'm a smart guy, but I'm not an expert at this field of things. So I take it to an expert. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So
exactly. It's very. But yeah, so there's some cool like that's kind of cool. But yeah, anyway, back to the Tesla thing.
Cybertrucks. I'm intrigued at the future of it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I honestly think that the Rivian ones,
I've seen those.
Dude, those look sexy.
I do like those.
I think their SUV looks sweet.
Well, look, I've seen their SUV.
The SUV, so same front end as the truck.
Is the truck you
just full cab,
and
it looks really good.
It looks like I imagine that looks like a military vehicle, but almost.
It has
like an APC.
It has a very vibey, a very military vibe. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of it if you're
sure
for you. Rivian SUV. There you go. And they're not as expensive. This one says I can buy this one used for $88,000.
Oh, only 88.
Yeah.
The trucks are like 60 or something. I could be wrong on that. Wow. Yeah, no,
it's pretty good looking.
Exactly as you described, Vince.
Yeah, truck extended. So, yeah, I think they look good.
Yeah, they seem decent. Obviously, I think like just give it a few years, the price tag will come down on those. But I am not opposed to electric vehicles. I think it's cool.
No.
The future.
I think as commuter cars, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
because like you have certain amounts of pollution from the mining and certain amounts of pollution from like the driving around of regular cars, right?
Yeah.
But if you have a normal car, like that already uses a significant amount of, copper and silver and platinum and steel and magnesium and all the metals, right? I think what Tesla's doing is there might be a little bit more mining intensive because of all the lithium
and tungsten as well.
Yep.
Actually, so it actually environmental impact because of mining the extra stuff for Tesla batteries kind of ends up in net zero.
So this is where I was going though, right?
Yeah.
Like yes, like as a package that's true, right? If you're looking at the whole globe.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest benefit will be from local air quality.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like, can you imagine?
They're all commuter vehicles anyway.
Exactly, right? If everyone switched their commuter, and I'm not saying everyone needs to go buy a Tesla or a Rivian or whatever, right?
Never.
But like, if you think of how many cars are on the freeway every single day, 40 minutes driving to work.
Yeah,
right?
I see them.
Yeah.
Get off the road.
And you think of like, okay, that's a lot of pollution that's going just into our city, right? Like where we live. And if we can put that pollution, if we're going to say it's the same amount of pollution, right? But we can export it from the city where we all live to like a mining facility. It's like
in the middle of nowhere.
That sounds okay to me.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of like if our air quality index can go way down in terms of particulates in the air. So way better. Yeah,
I can't argue with that.
That just seems like a better, like, and obviously I don't think every car should be.
No.
In fact, I think probably less than 50% should be electric.
Yeah, because if you're going anywhere long distance, you can't take electric. I mean, I guess some people do it, but
you can try.
But it's...
But like, I'm driving up to Utah this next week.
Oh, yeah?
And
Does that add an extra...
Well, I'm not using...
You're not using
taking electric. I'm taking a gas car because it's an 8-hour drive. And I want to do that in one stint. I don't want to have to stop every 2.5 hours to recharge a battery.
For half an hour, an hour?
An hour. 45 minutes. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Depending on how low the battery gets and how far you go up.
How up you want to charge.
Yeah, because
I think we're getting there. Cyberpunk 2077, all these sci-fi vibes of like electric cars. Like, yeah, we're getting there. But
is it Toyota or Honda? Toyota, I believe, is doing something interesting. They're really going all in on fuel cells.
Oh, okay.
Hydrogen cars.
I can see that.
Which makes sense to me because it just throws water into the air.
It's very efficient.
Yeah. And what's cool is that there's already an infrastructure for like refueling your car. You just have to replace one of your gasoline systems with a hydrogen system.
Yeah.
And then you just keep the same fuel stations all over the country and the world or whatever, right?
Same thing. You just
have a hydrogen pump as well as your gasoline pump. And then you can...
That'd be cool. I like the idea of that.
And that gets rid of the range problem, you know?
Yeah.
So
they probably are just, I imagine, got to work on the miniaturization. I've said that right? Miniaturization of the fuel cells. Which in every industry, just give it a couple decades, we get it.
I think they've gotten there pretty close.
Okay.
I think they've released like a couple prototypes that are like sedan-sized cars.
Nice. I would say miniaturization and then stability from a.
I don't know about that.
Technological and a chemical standpoint, I can say that those are probably, I imagine, the two things they're working on.
And I don't know what their progress is on that. But
probably cost to consumer, but.
It can't be much more than lithium, though.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even some of these electric vehicles are selling 90,000 used. You're like, oh, I guess somebody will buy it.
But like a brand new Model 3 Tesla is under 40,000. 38.
Yeah, 38.
Like,
so give it a few years. Like it's
coming down. It's very new. All of it's new technology, right? So it's, I mean, you look at how much the first computer cost. Not personal computer. The first computers that were like full rooms for like a couple megabytes.
Yeah, right.
And now we have 512 gigabytes as the cheap version.
You get solid state drives for your computer that are like yay big, and they're $50.
Yeah. You can go buy a 10 gigabyte flash drive for $7.
Yeah, it costs more for shipping. Like,
yeah, for real.
Yeah, we're technology always gets miniaturized and cheaper.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's cool.
Anyway.
I like future. Talking about technology.
Speaking of the future, here is the meat and potatoes.
That's it.
Or in Trevor's case, the meat and asparagus of...
Yes. Healthy asparagus.
Of the episode. Dune 2.
Dune Part 2, baby.
Part 2, yes.
Dune. To Dune.
To Dune or not to Dune? That is the question. You should Dune.
That would be confusing when they release Dune 2, Part 2.
I don't think there'll ever be a Dune 2. It'll be called Dune Messiah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the next book.
Dune 2.
Anyway, Dune Part 2 came out last weekend.
Last week.
You and I went and saw it yesterday with our wives. As background, probably it's 100% of my top 5 favorite books.
Yeah.
The original, the Dune.
Dude.
100% of my top 5 favorite books. Maybe my second favorite book.
Okay.
Battling for first, possibly, right?
Yeah.
And I thought that the first movie was good. I thought I enjoyed the first movie. And I thought the second movie just knocked it out of the park. I thought they did extremely well following the 90% of the book, basically step by step.
Yeah. Faithful adaptation.
Yeah. They had to get rid of some stuff because, like, it's a reasonably large book, and so you couldn't just have everything in the movie.
And a lot of it is internal dialogue.
Well, and they chose a weird spot. They didn't choose a weird spot. They chose a good division point between the first one and the first movie and the second movie. But that point in the book is like
not even a third.
It's like a quarter of the way through the book.
Yeah,
maybe a third. Maybe.
So for the roughly same amount of runtime, 2.5 hours, they had 3/4 of the book.
3 times as much crap to throw into it.
Yeah.
And they did a very decent job of getting the, big plot points.
Right? Someone who hadn't read the book, but I did watch the first movie. I thought it worked well. I thought it was very coherent. Didn't really feel rushed. You could argue some of it was slow at the beginning, but I don't really think so. I thought it was pretty cohesive, pretty well put together.
Yeah.
For a movie.
What's your ranking on a scale of 1 to 10?
Scale of 1 to 10.
You watching it again?
It's definitely better than the first movie. I would say I don't have to watch it again right away, but I wouldn't not watch it again in, I don't know, like a year or so. Like,
okay. Yeah.
Like I'm not dying to go see it again, but it was a well put together movie. Like I said, I enjoyed Enjoyed it more than the first one, even though it needed all the background from the first one to make this one work. Or you could just have one 5-hour movie, but I don't think anybody would have sat through that.
I would have.
Give it a couple sittings, maybe only on streaming. So I'm trying to think. 1 to 10 scale. There's so many factors. How do I just give it one number?
Music.
Music was good. I don't know, 9, 8.
Storyline.
Yeah. Honestly, I like the storyline a lot better in this one. As I said, the political and even the religious intrigue was very intriguing. For lack of a better word, it was very interesting to me. I enjoy those types of storylines, and then the sci-fi aspects were cool too. Those storylines up there, it's like a 9. I enjoyed that.
Acting.
Everyone did phenomenal. 10 on the acting. I have 0 complaints. Zendaya still looks like a high school girl to me, but that's just a personal pet peeve.
Really?
She still just looks like the what is she? She's MJ from Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't. But they're throwing her at everything now. I'm sure give it 5-10 years, and I don't know. I'll get more.
She's pretty attractive in my opinion.
Just not my type.
Doesn't do it for you.
No. Florence Pugh, on the other hand, thought she was great.
Also very attractive human being.
Yes, I agree with that one. Anya Taylor-Joy showed up for 10 seconds, and I was like, hey.
So I think they're teasing that there's going to be another movie.
I feel like they could, but
I mean, it'd be a good. Dune Messiah would be a good third part.
Yeah,
it's the second book in the series. Frank Herbert, the author of Dune.
Yeah,
I figured out. I told you yesterday that he wrote 3 of the books. Yeah. He wrote 6 of the books.
6 of the books,
and the last 3 were written by his son.
Gotcha. Wasn't it? I thought I heard only the first, Paul Atreides, the main character, is only it's his story for the first 3 or something.
2.5.
2.5. I'm like, didn't he kind of pull an Ender's Game, Ender's Shadow type thing where he started following another character?
Paul's son.
Okay, yeah. So it is still.
It's still
a chronological timeline.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And his sister, who is born.
Right.
Who was? So this is one of my gripes with the movie.
Change.
Was that in the book? I guess this is maybe spoiler alerts.
Only some.
I mean, the book's been out for
60 years.
Yeah, 80 years.
It was in the 60s.
So that's 60 years.
60 years. You can just say, because again, I haven't read the book, so from what I interpret, I think it's pretty spoiler free. In
the movie, his Paul's sister isn't born yet when the final thing happens. In the book, it's there's a time difference, right?
Yes. In the book, he lived with the Fremen, these desert people, for
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
And he had a sister who was born. And this one,
and she actually played I was actually thinking about this. Yeah. She actually played a pretty important role in the book. Yeah. As a character.
Oh, okay.
And they did decent at portraying her as a character in the book without her being there.
Either way, because in the movie she's just in the womb.
Yeah.
But either way, she's a creepy, psychic, all-powerful being.
She's that way in the book as well. So yeah.
So whether or not it's a creepy toddler or a creepy unborn fetus, whispering to her mom, same thing, I think. Same effect.
Very similar. Another thing that kind of frustrated me about the movie was his speech.
Oh, in the
congregation,
yeah.
In the book, that's not the first time he's been in that room.
Oh, gotcha.
And
they wanted to make
there was a big political system already in place to help him during that speech.
Yeah.
He didn't have to go in there guns a-blazing in the book. And in fact, he didn't in the book.
That makes sense.
He did. The effect was the exact same.
Yeah.
Right? And I think they just had to do it to shorten the movie, right? Mm-hmm. Because, he goes in there and they're all saying hey, you're the Mujadib, you're, the guy. And he's, in the first few instances, he's like, oh, no thanks.
No, thank you.
And then the last one, he does the whole speech thing, but it's more of it's not a accusatory speech, kind of like how the movie felt.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was very aggressive in the movie. Mm-hmm. In the book, it's very much more motivational and more. It has a different feel to it. The wording of his speech is different.
Could be, because of the timing wise, they wanted to show him start of the movie very like reluctant.
Yeah.
And then by the end, he's got to turn into this vengeful messiah for the people.
One thing they didn't show in the movie, which is reasonable, is that the Fremen are a bunch of druggies, man.
Oh, yeah.
They do a lot of...
I thought they were going to show more of that, honestly, because I knew that. I'd heard that from...
Yeah, so they have like the spice in their food, and that's what turns their eyes blue, is all the spice that they consume. And for those who don't know, spice is this magical drug, which turns out, sandworm poop.
Ah, they never revealed that.
In the book, they tell you exactly what it is.
Nice.
They don't say sandworm poop, but it's sandworm poop.
Sandworm excrement.
Yeah. You learn that the sandworms make it through a natural process.
And that's why it's only found on this planet.
Yeah. And so there's a bunch of sandworm poop all over the place, right?
Ingest it.
And they've found out that if you take enough of this, you can like see into the future,
see things.
And so this is a post artificial intelligence apocalypse universe, and so all of the computation is done by humans, and in order to navigate, the space navigators, in order to make their jumps safely, use the spice to basically see into the future for a few minutes to where they're going to jump
to, they have to travel,
so that they don't jump into a black hole effectively. Yeah. Right?
That's how their space travel works. That's why it's a very lucrative business prospect.
And that's why everyone wants spice, is because without spice, you can't do anything.
Interesting question. I don't know if they ever explained in the books. What do they do? How did they get to Arrakis? What did they do before they found spice?
They just jumped.
Oh, okay. They just
jumped, and they accept there was a loss percentage. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You're what's the word? I guess quality control.
Your acceptable loss tolerance.
Acceptable. Yeah. There you go. The tolerance. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of. Like sometimes you don't make it. That's fine.
Well, and they would and you have to remember that they did have technology prior to that.
Yes.
And so they developed technology with AI. And then AI revolted. It was
like a big war. Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, how do we make jumps now? And they were just jumping haphazardly.
They had the technology.
And then they were like, oh, wait, this drug that we've been using, let's just make our navigators take that. And everyone was like, genius. And now the navigators, no one can like lay eyes on navigators. They go over this in the book. You're not allowed to look at navigators because they look creepy, because they're just floating in vats of spice.
Yeah. Inhaling. So is that something I kind of gathered from the books? Is that what made Paul so neat? Is that he could basically see the future kind of all the time? That's why he was like a prophet or whatever to the Fremen?
So the reason he's a prophet is because the Bene Gesserit have implanted that for thousands of years, right?
That, like all of these prophecies that he somehow fulfilled.
But the spice allows him to see the future for whatever reason.
Permanently, or more than just a few minutes.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's what I gathered, because you could tell by the end of the movie when he'd fully accepted it. It's like his plans were pretty bad, because it's like he already knew like how to lay things out. He still had to do things himself. Like he had to fight a duel at the end of the movie. But he
that was another thing that I was kind of sad about.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Yeah. So he could his plans felt really cool. Like I was totally sold by the end. I was like, okay, I'm behind this protagonist. Yeah. He's just super clever. You could argue, oh, it's just because he saw the future. That's not really clever. But I'm like, but he still had to play it out in real time, and I think it worked well.
And they explain this in the movie, is that he has the ability to affect the future still.
Yes.
The future, one of the cool things about this universe is that he might see the future, but he sees, it's like the Doctor Strange thing, right? There's multiple
14 million.
Yeah, multiple possibilities depending on the choices that he makes.
Well, and he's scared of that at the start of the movie.
Yes.
And that's why I liked his transition from like reluctancy to finally accepting. He's reluctant because he's like, I can't be their messiah because I'm just going to get all these people killed, because that's what I saw in the future. But then he finally realizes, like, okay, that's one future. It's one possible future, but maybe we win.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, story-wise, I was all behind it. I love the political, the religious intrigue of, like, just following the protagonist on this journey.
Yeah. And that, I mean, the book does it just as, I mean, if not better than Yeah.
Totally sold. I wasn't like loving the protagonist in the first movie. I was just like, but I think that's how it's supposed to be. He's just supposed to be like a teenage boy.
Yeah, he's kind of a whiny teenage boy in the book too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of how it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I liked his mom. I thought his mom was sick. Some more of that intrigue. Like I loved her in this movie.
Yeah, and so when I don't know, this might be spoilers. The book's been out for 60 years. It's not spoilers at this point.
A movie is worth seeing if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't read the book, go see the movie. Stop watching this right now.
Yeah.
And go see the movie.
I think it was worth seeing. It was good.
But what's cool is that in the book, my mind was blown when it's like the Bene Gesserit are so genius because his mom is a Harkonnen, and he's not because
the bloodline is very important.
The bloodline is very important, but the Baron Harkonnen, Vladimir Harkonnen, doesn't have any sons. Yeah, he only has nephews, and that's why Rauta and however his name, Fade Rauta, and so whatever, I don't remember his name. The other
Dave Bautista.
That's why his nephews are kind of like his
prominent,
his prodigies, right?
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that Paul's mother is the Baron's daughter.
Yes.
And so Paul is his grandson.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool plot twist, actually. I did enjoy that.
So Paul is the son, the direct blood descendant of
two different bloodlines.
Two of the three most powerful houses. And then he now is the emperor.
Yeah, he makes a play to become the emperor. Yeah.
And
he's got a pretty good claim to power.
And has the most bad A fighting forces on the planet.
Is there any sort of like fantasy like magic in that his bloodline is like literally makes him stronger? I couldn't quite tell. Okay.
No.
It's just the political prominence.
The political prominence and what the Bene Gesserit have done to produce that prominence.
Because he is the only one who can like use their magic.
Because he was supposed to be a girl.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But his mom loved Duke Leto.
Yeah.
And gave him a son as an heir.
Gotcha.
And secured his bloodline.
Right.
When in reality,
the Bene Gesserit are supposed to produce more females so they can have more female wizard ladies.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Who can then transfer that bloodline.
Yeah.
Because a woman can't transfer the bloodline because whatever, right?
I don't know. Political rules.
Politically can't transfer the bloodline, right? But in actuality can. And so all the Bene Gesserit go and
that's all they're working behind the scenes of like
they make daughters who become Bene Gesserit, who are the daughters of just like Paul's mom.
Yeah,
she was the daughter of the Harkonnen, and her mom herself was a Bene Gesserit, and
they use them to twist the
30
politics.
Years later, she went and married Duke Leto, gave him what was supposed to be a daughter, so that the House Atreides and House Harkonnen could have a mother, a Bene Gesserit mother who was Harkonnen and Atreides, who would then produce a theoretical emperor that would be married off to the
third powerful family at that point or something. Yeah, exactly. So
but instead, because Paul's mother liked Paul's father
so much,
she decided to give him a son because they can choose the gender. Apparently,
it's magic.
Apparently,
their magic is like control.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of makes sense.
It's really cool in the book. They explain how they do it.
Oh, okay.
And it's very science-based.
Gotcha. Because from my point of view, I'm like, well, you could just like control the sperm to get to the right egg.
Well, yeah.
I guess.
Well, so that's kind of what they do. So it's really interesting because Frank Herbert was a very smart guy. And so when the poison happens, the poisoning of the sandworm, when they drink the water of life.
The water of life.
He goes into detail about how they can watch the poison in their body. They can like internalize that poison and like understand like, oh, it's moving through these veins and it's interacting with my cells this way. And it has this chemical formula. And so if I change this molecule to be something else, it turns it from a poison into water, basically.
Makes sense. Alcohol is literally a poison, and alcohol is chemically, a step away from any other hydrocarbon. So, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So they do that. 3 or 4 times in the show, or in the book rather.
In the book, explain the science.
Which is one of the ones that I was frustrated they didn't show, is because the final fight scene between Paul and Fade. Fade uses a poisoned blade.
Oh, gotcha.
And he cuts Paul with the blade. And Paul falls down and is like writhing. And then he cures himself and stands back up. And everyone's like,
I'm surprised they cut that out. That sounds like that would have fit really well.
Yeah. And then he like gets back up and he's like, tricky. And Fade's like, you caught me. And then they keep fighting.
Stab him with the sandworm tooth.
Yeah. That was like the one scene I was like, you got rid of that one?
Yeah. So what's your take on, as someone who's read the book and someone who hadn't? I heard the kind of the flashback scene setting up Fade, setting up the antagonist, his fight on the planet. I heard that wasn't in the book. Is that wrong?
No, it's 100% in the book.
Oh, it's 100% in the book? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100% of the book.
Because I thought I'd heard that was the one thing they added. You're always worried about when people do adaptations, what are they adding? But no,
that was in the book.
They didn't. All right.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they had some character creation around it to show how evil he was. Like he didn't. They had to set up the antagonist. Yeah, like
he wasn't in the last movie, so
they had to change how they set up who he was, because in the book it's like multiple chapters of the political aspects of House Harkonnen on the Harkonnen homeworld.
Yeah.
And so there's many chapters of Baron Vladimir walking through the hallways, talking to different political peoples.
Gotcha.
Just talking about whatever.
To give you all the background of the world building.
Yeah. And then Fade has his fight. I don't remember in the book if it was with people from House Atreides.
Yeah, that seemed a little interesting, but
I don't remember. I know it was with slaves, and they were drugged, and then one wasn't. Yeah, that was all correct.
That made it a cool fight scene.
Yeah. And he did take off his shield in the book and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I also had questions on some of that. I know the sand messes with the shield technology, the sandstorms and stuff. How come at the beginning, when all the Harkonnens just get ganked, right? They just get ambushed.
All the Atreides get ambushed?
No. At the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
They're like, no shields. And
the sandworms.
Sandworms? That's it.
The shields have a vibration that calls the sandworms. It's just like the thumpers.
Forgot. They mentioned that once in the first movie, but not again in this one.
You can't have shields on when you're out in the desert.
Okay.
Or else you get...
That's why only the flyers have the shields.
Yep.
The flying ornithopters.
Yep.
Okay. Another question. If they had laser weapons, how come they didn't just use those all the time? The Fremen are just like... Yeah. They're taking out the miners with these lasers, like...
Yeah, there's a reason. I don't remember if they had... the reason that you can't use lasers in like normal combat as like troop on troop is because they interact with shields. Shields are kind of like the catch-all.
Yeah.
But I mean, they kind of
like... then they nerfed it because of the sandworms.
Yeah. So the shields, you can't use... If you shoot a laser weapon into a shield, it basically causes like a mini nuke. Apparently is like what it like blows everything up.
Just the vibration.
Something. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't remember. He explained it in the book. It was explained.
Okay.
I don't remember though in the book if they used laser weapons against the machines though.
Mining machines, yeah.
I don't remember if they did that.
Those seem devastating. Like, it was cool from watching the movie. I could totally understand, like, these random rebels. I mean, they're not just, like, I don't know, random, like, tribal, whatever, prehistoric people. Like, they're devastating the Harkonnens' mining operations with these laser weapons. I mean, they're just destroying them. They're being more than a pest.
Yeah.
Very, very annoying.
Yeah. And that was portrayed very well because that's exactly how it is in the book. It's very similar in the.
I enjoyed that movie. A couple of those times, seeing those operations.
They did. It was such a gorgeous movie too.
Like the guerrilla warfare scenes were really cool. Way more action in this movie. I enjoyed it more than the last one.
Yeah. And I loved just seeing all the Fremen, like all the radicalists at the end.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you're like, oh yeah, Chani's leading the Fidalkin, which are like the northern fighters, right? And then you have his
friend.
Gurney Halleck leading another group.
Yeah.
And then you have Paul who's like, I'll lead the fundamentalists.
Yeah, the Southern people.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, let's see how many he has to lead. And because you're like, oh, like the Fidelkin is like not a massive group. And,
Yeah.
you know, Gurney's not leading I mean, it's big. It's like a lot, like 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then you're like, and then, you know, you see Paul like walks out and is like,
camera pans. And
it's just a million of them. You're like, oh, this is dope.
Is that so I'll I don't know, end off. I guess I'll check our time. The favorite scene?
I mean, that
final fight scene.
The final fight scene was immaculate. When they ride in on the sandworms.
That was, yeah, if I had to pick one, there was a couple sequences of riding the sandworms. But that one where they come out of the dust, it's like three sandworms.
And it was like the big bombs go off, the missiles go off, and like destroy the perimeter circle of mountain basically. Yeah. And then you have this sandstorm that rolls in, and then you just see this worm go.
That's I think I enjoyed that, the one, and then like two more behind them, and then you immediately see guys just dropping their weapons. They turn and they run. I'm like, intimidation check success. Why do we have ground troops? Like, if I was a soldier, they'd be like, what are we doing here? Why did they have sandworms?
But they didn't know that though. Yeah, they don't know that they ride sandworms. They don't know that
because there's no witnesses.
They're not.
Yeah,
because when you see a sandworm, you run away. Because they're harvesting the spice, and so if there's a sandworm coming,
they just book it.
They're like, oh, we got to get out of here. They don't stay to watch the worm.
Oh, and they know that don't they know that the Fremen attract sandworms with the thumpers? They showed that, but I guess they never saw that a Fremen actually rode a sandworm.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so they never knew, like, how are these Fremen getting around everywhere so fast?
They also didn't know that there was like a lot of Fremen. They thought there was like a couple thousand of them.
They thought that they were just like pests.
Exactly. They thought that they didn't realize that there was millions of Fremen in the south.
That. They're like, the whole southern half of the planet is just dust storm. Nothing can live there. I'm like, have you tried like leaving the atmosphere and then flying around to the southern half and then
and then the Emperor goes like, hey guys, you're dumb. There's human activity down there.
And the Harkonnen Baron is like, no, this is well known. I like that line.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so
worth seeing for the worm riding. I think all those things were pretty sick.
I loved how they did the worm riding because it showed the reason that the worms stay above ground when they're riding them. They have the little the plates that they lift like up, vents, right? Yeah, that's exactly how it was explained in the book.
Nice, yeah.
It said they lift up the protective sheath, and the worm doesn't want sand to get inside of its body. from through those gills, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, that's how it breathes.
And so it rolls itself upright so that plate is on the top.
Yeah, and that's where the humans stand.
And so that's how they steer as well.
They're like,
is because they'll go and they'll throw one of their little grapples to the another plate and pull it, and the worm will go the opposite direction of that. Yeah. So I loved how they showed that. That was really, really cool.
And it looked impressive, everything.
And the scene where he first rides one is like,
I was excited for that. I had heard that one going in. I mean, even from back in pop culture, it's like, in Dune that there's some worm riding. Like I was pretty excited to see that.
Well, and I loved how they portrayed it as well, because in the book they're like, "Hey, you have to do this," and then you watch it from the perspective of Chani, and she's like, "Oh, that's a big worm." And in the book, and in the movie, they're like, "Not that big of a worm."
Stilgar, he was a good character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that big. Don't show off. That's what he told me.
Don't show off. Call a good worm, but not too big. Not that big.
Yeah, it was fun.
Called a grandfather worm.
And then you see him like trying to figure out how to ride it the first time. It was cool. Well done. It was a good movie.
It was a very good movie. It was a very good movie.
All right.
Anyway, should we give it the good old ending?
Send off.
Alrighty. There we go.
10 out of 10 we recommend.
The movie as well.
Yes. Till next time. Thank you for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to see more.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks.